Look at that, made in Taiwan. Wow, what a nice surprise. But it does come all epoxied, so that's pretty cool. Some kind of a primer. That's a restoration part, 60 to 66 C10 Chevy roof outer panel. So, nothing else in there. Pull that off the side, and basically, this is kind of the project on this truck that I'm a little concerned about. Basically, what we're gonna have to do is probably cut this roof somewhere in here, and then add this to the front and this to the rear, and then add a piece into the middle, which I haven't quite 100% figured out how to wheel that out. If I'm going to use an English wheel to do the two sides, I think I'm going to make it in 5 pieces. So these 2 and then 3 pieces up the middle. Easier for me to handle. It's a little more welding, but I think I can get it. So probably just going to throw this up there. Think about how I'm going to cut it, and then yeah, see if it'll actually kind of fit up there. We've got this goofy ridge, right, like these earlier trucks had. So I'm trying to figure out if this has got crown or not. And honestly, to my surprising, that it really does not. Not till back here. Everything here. See, there's not a whole lot of crown. That's actually pretty flat for about a foot. About a foot or so off that. There's 12 inches there where my thumb's at. So actually a little bit more than 12 inches. That thing is perfectly flat. So, meaning that I should be able to cut up through here. And also, when I wheel a piece, I'm going to wheel a piece probably about this much here. Like I leave this pretty flat. I won't have to put just a smidge of actual arc. Sometimes when you weld it kind of pulls it in, so it'll flatten that arc out a little bit. And if it's perfectly flat and you weld it, it might dent it in. Kind of ran into that in the past. So I think the game plan would be to cut that thing up through the middle, come off that maybe. The dilemma is, do I cut it off like, say, right next to this hump, or do I come back a little ways? Theory is, if I come right off next to this hump, this edge here might help my metal from warping. But if I come out here, I'll have more area to hammer and dolly. Don't know. I'm going to think about this for a while and kind of come up with a game plan, but I definitely want to section this in half, put it in front and back of the cab, and then basically if this was extended out, I would make a piece here, a center piece, and then that piece over on the other side. So I think making these as big as I can handle would be making this smaller, which is going to help me work with that inner panel a little better, so I'm not trying to like English wheel out a piece this big if I decide to use an English wheel on it. The other thing would be kind of cool if I cut it here and I add the 20 inches or whatever it needs, I'm not really sure, is that it can stay flat from here all the way to like wherever my piece is, and then I'll still have some flat edge here. So the center of that roof will be flat and then roll out, which when I looked at this originally, the cab, the roof that they did and all the bodywork, it was pretty flat all the way across, and then it rolled down. So I kind of think that's what we're going to end up trying to do. But I'm not 100% sure. I want to kind of think this thing through a little bit more. I guess if I messed up, we always just get a new roof. But I don't want to try to mess it up. I'd like to try to actually think this through and see if we can't get it right the first time. So that's the plan. I'll think this thing through and maybe come up with a game plan today. Maybe not. I don't know. Wish me luck. Alright, so I got that roof cut in half. Came by about 3 inches off of this rip here, so I got enough room to get in there and hammer and dolly. It's actually pretty good. I mean, it's aftermarket parts, so I'm going to work this gutter here a little bit, but all in all, I'm going to have to work this pinch weld, this gutter over a little bit. It's got a couple of funky spots there. Cut these tabs off because in the front it's hanging up, which I think it hangs down just a hair, so it's kind of teetering right there on that I'm not sure what those things are. Might be some sort of alignment tab or something when they're actually stamping these things out. And I'm all over it, so. But all in all, that looks pretty good. This side, yeah, it's good teetering right in here, so I have to work that over. But all in all, the thing sits like that. I think that'll be pretty good. So I think the plan would be to probably go into about here, trying to make this piece, you know, and then I'll do the same thing on this side and then section a piece about 20 inches long through the middle or whatever it is. So I went out and whacked a chunk of this off of our donor cab to save this piece here and then this rain gutter. I'm gonna peel this apart and I can kind of hammer and dolly that. And I think I'm gonna separate it here because we want to get rid of this because we like to have a nice smooth rain gutter. So I gotta peel the roof off this thing. This is the roof piece here, so I'll probably just reach in there and try to grind out my spot welds and then try to separate this and this from here, and then we're going to splice this chunk in here. So we're going to go back to about here, come down and get rid of it's like rusted. Somebody already cobbled a bunch of crap in there, welded it, and then we're going to get rid of this here where it's rusted. Basically where you place this section of the gutter, and on our patch piece there's like a half moon here, so I'll leave this, take this off, cut this out somewhere in here, and then I'll rebuild this section of the gutter. So that's kind of the plan on this. I'll get this all separated, mocked out, I'll throw it in our little sandblast cabinet, clean it up. Pretty much welded in here. I need to do a little more grinding like in here, and I need to fix this where I had something welded there. Grind out a little bit. We got that smoothed out just a little low right there, but regardless, looking good. I kind of trimmed this, so I'll come back. Looks like it dips right here a little bit, so I'll kind of iron that out and then maybe run this with a big long file or something across there. But basically that's kind of the idea I had there with that piece. Now I'm trying to see how well, let's get this little weird little tab off there, how well I can go over there, but basically our roof skin's fitting pretty darn flat, like it's not rocking on the seam, laying pretty flat there and pretty flat here, and same thing on that side. What I'm thinking is, since this is pretty like flimsy, I mean I could probably clamp it here or cleco it down, but I'm afraid of this like drooping down the middle, where the back piece has got this arc here, and the step up, which is keeping this thing a lot less flimsy in the center of this here. So I'm thinking I could take a piece of metal that's like 1.5 inches wide, breaking it at 90, put it in my shrinker and stretcher, and basically stretching it out so it curves to the bottom of our hood here. Basically it would go across like 90 degrees and then come back out, and it would sit across here, and I can tack it in here somewhere to keep this just a little bit of upward pressure on this, keep this thing from sagging down, especially when I go to weld it. So just as close to that piece of roof as I can get it, and then we'll set it up here. Alright, so I got that piece kind of set in there, just kind of clamped in with a couple C-clamps out here into my gutters, basically pinching the roof skin down inside this drain gutter so I know it's all the way flat. Alright, so I went ahead and cut a piece, or grabbed a piece I had cut before, and just to see if I can make that shape, basically what I did was I took this, put it up against this edge here, the paper, and then just traced this line out, so it gave me something to cut out, and it kind of gave me my radius gauge. Basically that would fit in there about like so. And then I came over to the piece of metal and basically drew out each line that I wanted to, each line where I thought my radius could change. And then basically that, and then keeping these straight in my English wheel helps give me a line to follow this nice and straight, so I don't start wheeling off here. I keep it parallel. And then on my piece of paper, basically I did a 0, 1, 2, and 3, so then I can just get a quick reference to each individual piece. And I've got it very, very close. Basically, I made this roof piece here. I had it a little bit longer, but this got so messed up when I tried to wheel it, it just kept getting worse. So I ended up cutting this, sticking it in the shrinker. Basically it dipped down so it was stretched, and shrunk this in a little bit, which actually got this straightened almost just a smidge of an arc, which is kind of what we wanted. Looking pretty good. I've got it, need to add a little more arc to this roll and push this down, because basically I'm hitting up against my panel and it's sitting up above it. But looking at those gaps, I think that's pretty close. So I'm hoping that that's alright. So sun's coming through there, but that looks like it's going to be pretty close as far as our arc this way. And we cut this and kind of bring this down and bring this up. That should be good there. I mean, we'll be doing some filler work there anyway. But considering the tools I have available and my skill set on those, I think we're on the right track in the video here. And then come back in a day or tomorrow or the next day and work on this. But if you like this type of stuff, this content, this goofy stuff I'm doing, give me a like, a subscribe. You got any questions, comment below. And remember, get out there and create something today, even if it sucks. Peace.